Before Australia's first rollout has even begun, work is already underway on the next generation of COVID-19 vaccines. With mutant strains emerging all over the world, some scientists fear it's only a matter of time before the virus could outgrow the jabs Australians are set to receive within weeks. Professor of Medicine at Flinders University and vaccine research developer, Professor Nikolai Petrovsky joins us now from Adelaide. Professor, thanks for your time this morning. Are you happy with the speed or lack thereof of our rollout, first up?
So, Karl, fortunately, we don't have a lot of virus in Australia, so we've managed to control it through other means. So I don't think we should rush the vaccine rollout unduly in that scenario, and so I'm quite happy with the progress that we're making here in Australia.
Do we know yet how effective the vaccines Australia has committed to will be against these so-called mutant strains, the strains we've seen several pop up around the world, haven't we? There's even talk of one emerging from Israel now.
Yes, so the answer is no. We don't know how effective these vaccines are going to be against the majority of these new strains. There's a little bit of early data in test tubes testing the Pfizer vaccine against the UK strain. It wasn't as strong against that strain, but did show some evidence it may protect. But as I say, we don't know about the South African strain or the Brazilian strain. So this is a major concern that these vaccines, may not be effective against the new strains.
It's incredible how quickly this virus adapts and moves on and becomes something, in some cases, stronger.
The difficulty is, Karl, that if you let the virus spread, which unfortunately has happened in many other countries apart from Australia, and you've got millions of cases of every day, each of those cases is an opportunity for the virus to mutate. So essentially, by not controlling the virus, the world has allowed these mutations to occur at a rapid rate.
Can you explain that to folks at home on why and how the virus is able to mutate?
So essentially, a virus adapts to its environment, and the environment for this particular virus is now humans. So it's learning more about humans every time it crosses from one human to another. It's basically having the opportunity to find a better solution to make itself more infectious, and that's what we're seeing right now, that the countries that have the greatest transmissions of the virus are, not surprisingly, the countries where these new variants are emerging, which are much more infectious and much better at crossing over from person to person.
It's fascinating as well as it is disturbing, isn't it? Have we discovered the best COVID-19 vaccine yet? Is there more work to be done in that field?
Look, at the moment, Karl, we just have a couple of the front runners, the early vaccines that have managed to get into phase 3 clinical trials. There's some 200 candidates, including ours, that are still in development, many of them in earlier stage human trials. So there's plenty more options out there, and I think the importance is that we don't assume the problem is solved with the candidates that are already there. We need to keep pursuing these other candidates, particularly against these worrying variant strains.
How do you come up with a new vaccine for something that hasn't happened yet?
That's a very good question, Karl, and we do that for influenza every year, where we have to try and predict ahead of time where the virus is likely to be in 6 months' time, when we get the next influenza season. So we do have some experience with trying to get ahead of the game and make a vaccine ahead of time for those new variants. It's challenging, and essentially what you have to do is take all the information on the new strains and then try to make a vaccine against them as quickly as possible.
Now, look, given that this virus is mutating at a pretty disturbing rate in some countries, will COVID-19 become an endemic like the flu with a new vaccine developed each year?
So unfortunately, that's the scenario we now face. I think we did have an opportunity back in January last year to do what we did with SARS, which is to completely control and eradicate the virus by, very aggressive quarantine procedures. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. The cat got out of the bag, and I really don't see, with the evolution of the virus, that we're ever going to completely get rid of it. So we need to accept that this is going to be like influenza. It's going to stay in humans for the indefinite future.
Sobering news, but really good to talk to you this morning. We appreciate your time and your expertise, Professor. Thank you.